Can you all hear me from behind? Or am I loud enough? Well, first and foremost, I'd like to say Padaro Maredes. I hail from this place. And thank you, ScooNews and Ravi, for giving me the opportunity to address most respectable part of the society, the teachers. And I have to say it more so because I come from a teacher's family. My father, teacher, my elder brother, teacher, my sister-in-law, Ravi, being teacher. So when I was growing up, I can't run away from teachers. Wherever I go, there was a teacher around me. So I think that's a wonderful feeling to be with you. I also like to pick up a little bit of a thread from the last statement made, let's change the attitude. And I'd like to submit to you that for next whatever 10 plus minutes I get to speak to you, I'd like you all to have, give me the permission to allow me to speak and give my thoughts a little bit provocative and have the attitude, request your attitude to listen to me, because there are many things which are important in the education sectors, like 3 hours and more hours for aided. So I'm not going to talk about that. What I'll talk about is a little bit of my experience as a student for last 65 years. I went to ordinary government primary schools, not far from here in a backward area. Ended up all my degrees from Rajasthan, 2 from a government universities in science topics, and a 3rd from a very exceptional university called BITS Pilani. And I think, and then 40 years of working in the industry globally, mostly ushering new technologies and witnessing the impact to the society. And along the process also earning a couple of degrees from Australia and America. And now a lot more spending time for last 20 years and more so last 4 years, 100% in India, in education sector, in skills and knowledge development, to some degree playing a bit of a professor role as well. So my experience, among many other things, is that educational technologies is a big lever. It's a central lever. And not only for just using it as a tool, but perhaps transforming education, using the educational technologies is our opportunity. In fact, I always feel close to, when somebody made a statement yesterday that 21st century is India's century and it will happen through education. I think very wisdom-filled statement. It will only happen through education, otherwise that dream will remain a dream. I 100% believe in it. So I like to suggest that, taking that further, that if we can not only leverage but transform education in India, not just for India but become leader for the world, is our opportunity. Is our opportunity, because using that we can always, sometimes people say that what will I do as a teacher? I think around that there is a transformed roles, but in fact there is a bigger role. As a subject matter expert, as a content creator, as a coach to make these things happen. So my talk will be using some of these charts as well, but my talk would be, I'll be using some words like 3D. Why is 3D important? You talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, experiential learning, but really, abstract that. It's about 3D. We all dream in 3D. We go to temples and we are impressed and get some peace because we are witnessing a 3D statue. So, our evolution has been 3D, but hundreds of years it has been made, flattened in a 2D in text, etc. So our natural human, capability or way of learning is always in 3D. Now, of course, in last few hundred years, we did not have this opportunity of technology, but today we have a technology to take us back into what we originally came from. So that is one thought. Second part is collaboration, an extreme collaboration. Again, technology has allowed us to not necessarily have to go to the Harvard and Stanford, but through collaboration, right in this city, right in a village next to it, we can avail that. And of course, a lot being talked about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data analytics. So what can we do to exploit these technologies for each student so that we can know how that student has been performing, not at a macro level at the end of the year, but right in the learning process itself at every second, and we can get insights on that and apply that so that the outcomes for that particular person is enhanced. So coming back to, as I said, the technology is not only the biggest differentiator for any country to, in fact, if you look back last 100 years, whichever countries exploited those technologies economically, socially, they are doing much better. But particularly that is applicable for using that for our students. So with that, I like to, follow the old adage that a picture tells 1,000 words. And I'll probably use those pictures. And I would even extend that a video tells 1,000,000 words. So instead of me talking, let me allow my pictures to talk, or pictures which I have prepared for it to talk, and then we can get a feeling for exactly what can be achieved. So over to the next, please. Or do I have? Is that clear? Now, I'm just going to talk about three things. Since I represent EON, which is a global company, I'll talk a little bit about this company and what it is doing around the world, particularly in the space of knowledge and education. The company which has been around for 20 years, maniacally focused on applying augmented reality, virtual reality for knowledge, skills and education, versus 99.99 virtual reality companies focused on entertainment, Hollywood and the likes. And then talk about how it is solving the current problems which have been discussed a lot during this last 2 days conference. It's present globally, it's present in India, in fact it is present right in the city. So I would always suggest that you need to experience it. But when it comes to the customers in education sector, we have been working with universities, we have been working with vocational education institutes, and now a lot more focus on K-12 segment. Industries, so not only the technology used for students, etc., but also people who need to be trained and retrained in the industry, and you can see who's who from any industry group you'll find in there. And yes, governments, because now governments are also realizing how do we bring about a big change in the overall skills knowledge in order for its citizens to be more relevant in the new world we are entering into with artificial intelligence, IoT, cloud technology. So those are completely shaping the world. So it's upon us, whether we like it or not, in fact, all for the positive. So how do we train people? How do we skill people? How do we skill our students so that they are more relevant and become leaders in the new world we are entering into? So many of the aspects what we have been hearing in last 2 days show they're extremely important, but I'll tell you one thing. They all will change because of the environment we are moving into. And when I mention about governments in India too, both at the central government level as well as state governments are now very interested in how do we bring out this technology to our contingent and our schools and colleges in India. Now, biggest boon, should I say, for India, because many times technology will be there and it may take a huge change to be made before that technology can be utilized. Luckily, mobile phone has spread every nook and corner and to everyone, including students in India. So luckily, we don't have to make a big change, and telecom connectivity has allowed us for everybody to experience that. However, there are some issues. As you all said, shortage of teachers on one end, the budgets, and complexity what people have to know, the students, the workers, the like, in order to perform and in order to even live is increasing. I mean, can you think of walking out, they're not interested in learning? And ultimately, all we are preparing for one of the dimensions. Yes, of course, they need to be responsible and ethical and leadership students. And once they get out of the work, get out of the colleges, of course, everybody is looking to be relevant. The job is not just about money. But what this chart shows that over last 10 years, the kind of jobs required to be filled. This is an example in the manufacturing sector in USA. But the blue shows that these are the jobs required. Because of the skills available in the orange, there is a huge gap. So one side we say that there are not enough jobs. There are other side, there are lots of jobs, but there are not enough skilled people. And the solution for that is leverage. Leverage what we have in terms of the technology, leverage what we have in terms of the immersive, experiential, 3D rich, collaborative solution. Now, AR, VR is proven to create students, create workers to retain better, to apply better, and when they have to make decisions, they do that better. Now, as I mentioned, and there are studies, international bodies have studied at the student level, studied in USA as well as in countries like Ethiopia, and of course in between, whether it's Singapore, Australia, China, Mauritius, so a number of places where we operate, we have found, and studies from international bodies, that sometimes 90%, we're not talking about a small change, 90% order of magnitude change in terms of and again, I said, let me allow a few videos to give you a picture.
Where it is so cold that its outer layers froze to stone. But the core remained as hot as the surface of the sun. That is our planet, Earth. Can anybody tell me how old our planet is?
It is said that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, sir. That's right.
Sir, let me take a look. I see. For a four-cylinder engine, the typical firing order: 1, 3, 4, 2. Try connecting the spark plug in that order.
Thanks, Professor.
Hello, and welcome to this new anatomy lesson about the heart. Let's start with a bit of background. In order to survive, our cells Hello and welcome to this new anatomy lesson on heart.
Has been is how do you create the content, and a teacher can create a new lesson within minutes. So it doesn't require programming, it's almost like PowerPoint. Grab objects, you put that together, you put the sequence, and the lesson is ready. And then not only you learn on a device as simple as a mobile phone or even head-mounted gear. But then that is achieved through virtual trainers. Sometimes you do it in a group classroom, in a cave, if it's in a university or in a school or a college. And then not only you finish with training or learning, but using augmented reality can get continuous support. Sometimes you leveraging the IoT sensors in the various objects which you may place. So the entire platform is there. For the interest of time, I will just give you a way how content is created by a teacher. Because if we change the inner core, it is the biggest leverage. Trust me, I studied physics, and yesterday Mr. Gandhi talked about some IIT student who committed suicide. I really could relate to that. That bridge, that gap, studying that 2D photocopy on a black and white atomic structure, I still don't understand. And that makes me, when I went out, realized that, educational technology made a huge difference. If I had my way, and my father, who was inspector of schools for 100 schools, I would say that this is the kind of thing we need to take. So, allow me a little bit, I'm so passionate about this particular aspect. But and then I'll finish in the next 3-4 minutes. What I'm saying is that it is not applied only for those subjects, but English taught very simple classes, walk around, washing machine speaks to you, washing machine. Now this is the way where it can become. The sky is the limit, and most of the content which I just showed you was created by students and teachers team in Singapore. Some of these examples. Again, it's not technology on its own, connected with all your learning management systems, etc. So whatever records you have about your students, it will tell you how the scores are performing and how it is enhancing the score. And it doesn't matter what kind of device you use, we are a focused software company. Okay, now I said it is not on the same technology is used in conjunction with this video. Now that may appear like futuristic. It is not. These are the real examples. First one being fire safety department saving lives. This is an example in Singapore. There was the oil and gas real scenario where you could potentially save, and one of the large oil and gas companies is using it for some disaster type accidents like the one which happened 8 months ago in a thermal power plant near Mathura. Many times it doesn't come out that way, but because of the skills, knowledge, and then on-the-job support is not there. So this is the world we are entering into, like it or not. In fact, I would refer to the book. How many of you have read the book from Harari, Homo Deus? Homo Deus talks about brief history of tomorrow. His past book was on Homo sapiens. And Homo Deus talks about that there would be 2 types of people it may create. One being augmenting with the technology, and other maybe have-nots who will be left behind. Now my submission is, I'm not here to talk about that. That is happening. Now, in order for our students to not only adapt to that, but lead that world, to me, is a real India's opportunity. Otherwise, we would be left behind, and this dream may remain just a dream. And that's my sincere worry. So I'd like you to all please, I know there are many more important aspects of education and 3 R's and attitudes and respects, etc. But to me, this is the central and most important lever we have to really leapfrog. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.